Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Hey guys, it's Adam here, and today I'm going to show you how to clean and hopefully restore a slim model PlayStation 2. I just picked this up honestly, at the time I make this video, at the time this video gets released, I will have had this in my possession for a few weeks. I got this at like a bookstore for like 20 bucks. Pretty good deal. It has the console, it has the controller, it looks like it has a memory card as well as a set of component cables, which we'll kind of take a brief look at. Truth be told, I didn't really need this. I already have a Model 2 PlayStation 2, the slim one, of course, which is what we're going to be talking about. You can tell it's a Model 2 because it has this type of power supply. The big difference here with the quote-unquote Model 3, which is this one, is that the power supply is different. It's that figure 8 style port. So, yeah, that wasn't really enough of a reason to get it. Honestly, the reason I picked this up was because a lot of people have asked me to make a video about cleaning and restoring a slim PS2. And mine didn't really need that, so I thought, okay, I'll take one for the team. I'll kind of do this for you guys. If you need to clean a fat model PS2, I've already done a video on that. You can check that out. So let's proceed with this, and hopefully if you have a PlayStation 2 that's in need of some repair, this might get it up and running again. I obviously have not opened this yet, so I have no idea if this works. I hope it does. Take it out like this. So let's take a look at some of the contents, shall we? Take real quick. Let's get this bag out of here. Now it's all rubber banded together, obviously. Alright, let's take that away. So of course, comes with a controller, which is good. Comes with power cable, always nice, figure 8 cable. These are much more convenient than the Model 2's cable. And of course comes with this set of component cables, which is actually a little bit more valuable than you might think. This is one of those multi-tap type of, or multi-port type of cables. This one not only supports this one's actually designed for the PlayStation 3, but it will work on the PlayStation 2. It also supports the Nintendo Wii as well as the Xbox 360, so nice little bonus. So there you go, that's all that stuff. It also came with a memory card, it looks like, an 8 megabyte memory card, third-party one. Actually, yeah, well, I'm not sure if this is third party. Yeah, it's Nyko. Nyko made it. This is third party. So then we get down to the console itself, which appears to have a lot of scratches on it. Probably can't do much about that. But if you want to take a look at some of the other differences Sony made here, you can look at the front and see, yeah, there are some changes in the layout there. I wonder if the little PlayStation logo still rotates. In case you guys didn't know that, mind blown, huh? You can actually rotate the PlayStation logo depending on which orientation you keep the console in. Also, the button appears to be a little bit different, the power button and the eject button, so that is cool. And on the back, yeah, it looks like they got rid of the line port, which makes sense, and they moved the location of the broadband port and just kind of did some minor adjustments. So, yeah, that's cool. Anyway, let's go ahead and proceed to the first step, shall we? First step would be to make sure there's no disc in there. There is not. And we'll go to the bottom, and I have not opened this particular one before. Okay, there you go. They have these like little rubber feet on there. You see that? It'll reveal a screw, and I believe, let's see, this might take me a minute to figure out exactly where they all are. There's one right there. There's one right here. Sony did a lot of mild, variations, minor changes on these things over the years. So your screw points could be in different places. There's one right there. These two do not appear to come off, so I'm guessing there's no screws underneath. So in this case, there are a total of 5 screws, and they just use a Phillips head screwdriver, so you can go ahead and remove those pretty easily. So I took those 5 screws out and then realized there is a 6th one. It's hidden underneath this, which is the warranty verification sticker. So once you break that seal, the warranty is void. However, I'm fairly certain at this point in time this warranty is void anyway. If you have the original Model 2, they put the sticker in a different place, which has to be slit to open it. Again, voids your warranty, but I don't think it's valid anyway, so we're going to go ahead and open it up. If I can that's easier said than done. Well, that's going to take me a minute to kind of dig this thing out, but once I do, I'll take the screw out of there, and we will proceed to the next step. I'm just going to kind of take the screwdriver and just kind of cut around the edges. It just has another one of those square things. So I got it out of there. It was a little difficult. You had to really cut around like you saw there, and then I took a flathead and I just kind of used it as like a lever to like prop it out. Once I did that, I took the screw out, so now we can take the lid off. If it's anything like other PlayStation consoles, yeah, look, there's like little clips there. I was about to say there's probably like little clips holding it in place. So you'll kind of have to, you know, use gravity, of course, but also, I would think, kind of pop these little plastic bits out of the way and then kind of lift up. And there's probably going to be points of resistance. Yeah, it looks like there's a point of resistance over here, so we probably do the same thing. We just kind of pop this up a little bit. Right there. Come on, man. There you go. Yeah, I know clipping noise always sounds like a bad thing, but it's going to happen in this case. So we take the lid off, and we can see it's pretty dusty in there. This is the little power supply thing. You'll, of course, want that to ultimately sit right there. But yeah, that's the inside of a Model 2-ish, Model 3 version of the PlayStation 2. Very small, very dusty. So let's see. It's not in the worst shape ever, but I think we're going to actually try to get all the guts out and get to just the plastic. So before we do that on this side, though, let's focus on this side. This one is nothing but plastic. There's really no further reason to like dismantle it. Like, we don't need to take all that stuff out of there. So all I'm going to do with the lid here is basically take it into the sink and rub it down with a lot of soap and water and brushes and everything, and just try to get as clean as possible. So I went at it with a basic cleaning there and got some dust out and all, of course. And I noticed this little white scar mark on there, which is generally from plastic making contact with other plastic, and we're going to try and get that out right now. So for that, what I use is a thing called Mr. Clean's Magic Eraser. Apparently in other parts of the world this is called Flash, most notably the UK, that's what I was told. So basically all you do is take some of it, and it's basically like this really fine little sandpaper, and you just kind of rub it along on the mark until you get rid of the offending thing. And there you go. It's pretty much completely gone now. And then I'm going to go ahead and take it and re-rinse it and get some of that dust out of there. Alright, I rubbed that down, and now I'm going to put this off to the side and let it dry. I should have mentioned this before. That stuff, Magic Eraser or Flash, can be really destructive to logos, so just be careful where you use it. Only use it on things like that, like little white marks that aren't supposed to be there. So now let's put that away and bring in the actual console here. Now there's a lot of screws on this thing, and a lot of them have to come out. So let's start with this. There's a screw up here by the power supply, right there where my thumb is. You're going to want to take that one out, as well as this one right here by the controller port. And after you do that, you'll be able to lift up the power supply, and then this little ribbon here is connecting it to the board. It has this little plastic clip on it, just like that. You can do that, and then we're just going to take the power supply away so there's less clutter. So the two screws I just had you take out are both exactly the same size. Once that's out, you can take the power supply and just lift it out by, you want to put a little pressure on the back there and pull up at the same time, get that out of the way. Now all the other screws we're going to take out are exactly the same size, but they're smaller. They're not, so these two are like this, and you'll see the other ones we're going to deal with are smaller, so best to isolate them. So we'll just do this in pieces here. Let's start with these three. There's one here on the outside, right there by my index finger. There's one here by my index finger now. And then there's one right there in the center. So go ahead and take those three out. Once you've got those three out, we're going to focus on a different area. We're going to take the laser assembly here, which just kind of is clipped in with these little like rubber fixtures over these little plastic parts. You lift it up to reveal another screw right back there. So go ahead and take that one out as well. Once you have that rear one out, just basically take the laser assembly and just kind of, we had it like this, and you just kind of slide it right back into place, put it on its 4 points. And then we're going to see, you see this big black thing here? There's 3 screws on it, 2 here and 1 on the side. Go ahead and remove those. Once you do that, you'll be able to lift this up to reveal a very dirty, gross fan. Holy shit. And you'll see another screw back here, right there, and go ahead and remove that as well. Once you've got that one out, you have all the screws out that you're going to need, so you basically just kind of plop this back into place, and we're going to take the board out. So I found the easiest way to do this is just kind of pull it back like this, lift on the rear parts here, and just kind of pull back, because the only piece of resistance left at this point is the controller and the USB ports just kind of being stuck under the plastic. So once you kind of wiggle those out, then you'll have this other little clip down here, and we push enough on it, yep, the whole board just kind of comes out. Now be careful, I had my thumb dangerously close to the laser. Don't do that. Just don't touch the laser. So now we take the board and just kind of put that to the side, and we can see the bottom of the console, which is really, really dusty and dirty. So we're going to, like with the top, what we're going to do now is just take it, scrub it down with some soap and water and a brush, and just get it as clean as we can. I've rinsed the bottom and got a lot of that dust and dirt and grime out of there, so it's aesthetically much, much nicer. So we're going to go ahead and put it off to the side and let it air dry, and we'll bring in the power supply. And then we'll bring in the motherboard in a second. Unfortunately, with CD-based consoles, there's only so much you can do with basic cleaning methods to try and get them up and working, unlike cartridge consoles where it's really hard to kill one of those. So in this case, what we're going to do is just the few things I can do to try and restore it, assuming it isn't working. In this case, we'll take the power supply, and really all you can do with the power supply is just kind of dust it down, because it's, you know, the more dust you get out of it, the better. So what I'm going to use is the DataVac electric duster. I used to use compressed air. You could still do that. I just found this thing to be more badass. So basically, yeah, I don't know how much of that you saw, but there was some good dust chunks that flew off of that. So there you go. That's one thing down. And then we're going to go ahead and take the board and basically repeat the exact same process, just kind of blowing dust, you know, the air to get as much dust out of there as possible, with the exception of the fan. We'll take care of that in a minute. But basically same thing. Yeah, I love this damn thing. All right, so you're gonna want to do that to your heart's content until you feel like I got enough dust out of there or whatever. And then, I'm guessing your fan is just as dirty as this one is. So we're going to do the exact same thing, but more focused on just this spot specifically. Wanted to change the head on here. All right, here we go. There was a giant clump of dust that came out of that one. I can still see some dust, so I'll probably keep doing this for a bit, but that's the primary thing you can do is just get a lot of dust out of there. I would also advise, you know, getting some in there too, since the fan is gone. So now the last thing we can do to try and hope to get this thing working again, and probably most importantly, is to clean the lens right there, the laser. So in order to do that, I'm going to take a Q-tip, and I'm going to take Windex, aka window lean in certain countries, and just kind of spray some right there on the end. Right there. All right. And what you're going to do is just extremely gently, and I mean really gently, rub the laser a little bit like that, and then switch sides to the dry side. Just do that. And that's kind of about it. If you notice any, while you have this open here, if you notice any other like dust or anything like that you want to get rid of, like for example on this plastic part here behind the laser, I see a bunch of dust. One other thing you can do if you want to just make it more aesthetically pleasing is you can kind of look around this part of the exposed board. A lot of dust will collect on there, so you just kind of take the Q-tip and wipe it down. But you can also do that with the controller ports. Of course, these are exposed all the time, so likely there's a bunch of dust there. And so really all you got to do is just go in there and just clean up some of the plastic, you know, and just get as much dust and dirt out of there as you can. May not actually improve performance at all, but it likely will at least just make it look better, which is another part of this. So go ahead and do that. So we're essentially ready to put this back together, except that the plastic on the outside is still wet. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of wait, you know, a couple hours and let it completely air dry. Yes, you can use a rag to try and get it drier faster, or, you know, whatever you want to do. I prefer just letting it sit and just letting it completely air out. It's best not to risk any moisture getting trapped in the console. The case has completely dried, so now it's time to put the console back together. So we'll put the top piece off to the side, and we're going to start by putting the console back in place. So I find the easiest way to do this is take the side with the controller ports, have it face away from you, and take the board here, and just kind of line it right back up. You will have to be aware of the power switch, kind of maybe put that over like that, and just basically slide this back into place. It should just kind of plop in, and there you go. It's now sitting back in place. So the next thing we're going to want to do is start putting the screws back in. I think the easiest one to start with would be to move this over and start putting there's a small screw that goes in right back there. So I would suggest just doing that first. We'll do this one piece at a time. Now that this one's back in place, let's take the fan here and kind of sit this into its final position there. And again, if you remember, there's 3 screws, one here, one here, and one here. And again, it's those 3 super little screws, so go ahead and put those back into place. So there was a reason we didn't completely rest the laser assembly. Of course, we have to pull it down a little bit to reveal, of course, another screw point back here. So go ahead and put that one in as well. Once you have this rear one installed, it's time to take the laser assembly and just kind of sit it over these 4 points so that it just sits in like that. And then we're going to put our 3 remaining screws in. There's one that goes right here, one that goes right here in the center, and one that goes over here on the right. Once those 3 are back in place, we'll take our power supply and we'll sit this in, which goes I had it upside down, but it goes in like this. And there's a little bit of track here on the sides that we'll have to line up with the case, and you'll just kind of fit it in just like that. Very easy. You'll also, of course, have to take this power ribbon and make sure it's plugged in. So at that point, you only have 2 remaining screws, these 2 bigger ones. One goes right here on the front with the controller port, and the other one goes right back there to lock in the power supply. So go ahead and tighten those up. So now you have all your screws back in place. So all you have to do now is take the little power supply, or the power button, basically, and put it there, and there's a little clip to hold it into place. And then you take the lid and basically just kind of sit that right back on. It should go on with relative ease. The front here does still have that clip. You may have to kind of push that into place, but yeah, it shouldn't really have any problems sitting back on. So if it does, then you might have to shift things around, but yeah, fundamentally that should be it. And of course, you want to check your eject mechanism. Works fine. Push this. You can hear the clicking, so that's working just fine. So at that point, you're going to take your 6 external screws and put those into place. Once these screws are back in place, it's time to put those little feet back on. Now, 2 of them were rubber, and those go on the outside parts, just like that. And now you'll have 4 other ones that are plastic, although this one isn't quite all the way in. There we go. Then you'll have these 4 plastic ones. Now, obviously, at least in this console's case, one of them had a little sticker over it, so that one's pretty easy to figure out where that one goes. The other 3 are totally interchangeable, and you can just put them wherever you like. I'm just going to obviously put that one there, and there you go. And our console is completely back together. Now, it's far from perfect. As you can see, it has a lot of scratches and scuffs, and there's only so much you can do about that. Little white mark there that I'll get off. Yeah, see, it comes right off with my finger. But even though I can't get it flawless, there is something I can do to improve this, and that's to take Pledge. I can use this to bring out a nice shiny luster to it and get it closer to what it's supposed to look like. I use specifically orange Pledge. You can use whatever flavor, as it were, that you prefer. I suggest not using the moisturizing version. That tends to have funkier results. But basically all you do is just kind of spray some on the console like that, or directly onto a paper towel. And you just kind of wipe it down like this. And what you're going to want to do is cover the top, the sides, the bottom, and everything. And then just kind of like let it sit and, you know, dry for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. All right, and there we go. It's had time to dry. And obviously, like I said, there's a lot of scratches and stuff in there. I can't do much about that. But it does look substantially better than it did when I initially got it, which is really very nice. But of course, the question is, does it work? I don't know. I never bothered to test it because that's how these become exciting. So let's go ahead and find out right now, shall we? I've got the console all set up here. I have Twisted Metal Black in there, and okay, I pressed power. It turned on. So so far so good. And we can see the little dashboard thing happening, and we will see if we get the... Sorry about autofocus. I know the camera's going to go nuts. I apologize in advance. Okay, there we go. We got the little PlayStation 2 logo, which means presumably it will load into the game. Alright, camera, stop autofocusing. But yeah, that's good. It looked like it cleaned up pretty well, I think. Game. That's a really good game if you haven't played Twisted Metal 2, or Twisted Metal Black. It's really awesome. But yeah, that looks like you're seeing the credits there, or the intro stuff. So yeah, it's reading the game, no problem. I'm not going to bother you guys with this, but I'll also test it to see if it read one of those blue CD discs, and I'll put in a subtitle if it worked or not. I would guess that it will. But yeah, there you go. It goes without saying that I turned down the volume so it doesn't bother us. But yeah, looks like the controller works fine too. So there you go, guys. It worked out just fine, and I hope this helps anybody who needed to clean one of these things. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.